Hello, welcome to Rise Form Studio, episode number 56. I'm your host, Michael McAuliffe. This week, Eric Stroup ties the Jbug. Materials list. For your hook, it's a Dohiku, number 302. You can tie this from a size 12 all the way down to a 20. For your thread, Danville Olive 6/0. For your tail, Pheasant Tail Fibers. For your rib, copper wire small. For your body, Nature Blend Olive Dubbing. For your shellback and wing case, Pheasant Tail Fibers. And for your legs, it's Mottled Brown Hen. So I'm here today in the Ramsey Ledgewood store. This is the base of operations for my guiding. I'm joined today by Eric Stroup. And Eric's going to tie up a pattern today. Eric, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're going to tie?
This is a pattern I started fishing, Mike, probably a couple of years ago, but I really got serious about it last year on the little Juniata. And it's really a generic nymph that I tie in a variety of natural colors that is very imitative of all of our mayfly nymphs. And I named it the Jbug because we call the little Juniata the J, or the little J. And it's also what we call my son, John, who's a year and a half old, but we call him Jbug. So it's kind of a neat little fly, and I think everyone will have success with it.
Okay.
We're going to tie this bug today in olive, and one of the three shades of olive I like to tie this in. Very good for the blue wing olive nymphs, and you can tie it down to an 18 or a 20. We're going to tie this bug on a 14 so that we can see it a little better. And I'm just using an olive Danville thread, and I'm going to go right back to the bend of the hook. Now the key ingredient to this fly is pheasant tail, and I'm going to, if you pull all the fibers away from the stem like that, you'll see that the tips are very even. That's how we want to make sure that we separate these. We don't want to have to stack these things to make them even. So if you pull them off, cut them off like that. And I'm just going to transfer these ends in my fingers so I can put my tail on. Make one wrap. And now that's a little bit long, so I'm going to release the tension a little bit, push it in. Another wrap. That's about good for my tail, and I'm going to run my thread up to about the middle of the hook. Now, one of the things that makes this fly effective is its segmentation, and I like to use copper wire for that. And I'm going to tie this wire in about halfway up the shank. Pull that pheasant tail out of the way. And I'll just wrap back over it right to the base of where I have the pheasant tail. So that's where we are. We've got the wire hanging off. This is going to be our shell back here. Now we'll take some dubbing. You can use any color of dubbing here that matches your streams. I have, like I said, a few shades of olive that I like for the little Juniata and Penns Creek. And this is a green olive. And I think it'll be good because you'll be able to see it very well.
There's two things about this pattern that are really appealing from my perspective. And the first one is that it's a new use for pheasant tail. I mean, the fact that you're showing a different color on the abdomen and then the top of the fly in a very simple manner is kind of genius. And I'm mad at you for it because it should have been my idea.
Well, I'm sure people have done this before.
Yeah, but
there's nothing new in this.
No. And the other thing that I really like about it is that we have a lot of olives here, and that's probably the only mayfly that's really important in New Jersey where we're fishing over the course of the season. Mm-hmm. And they're from a 14 down to like a 24 or a 26 in November. And you could tie this very easily as a great imitation of those.
Now I'm wrapping this dubbing. I'm going all the way up to the eye. That's our body right there. Now I brought the thread back, about a quarter of the way back the shank. And what I'm going to do is pull this pheasant tail over and make a couple of good strong wraps there. Now I'm going to advance my thread. That's what our fly should look like. Now that's our shell back, And what's really going to make this bug pop is the wire rib that we put on. So I'm going to wrap this around, and what I do is I don't put a whole lot of tension on it until I get over the top, and then I pull down. What that does is it separates those pheasant tail fibers, and it really makes them pop, and they look like gills on the side of the bug. Once I get to the top, I'm just going to wrap that around the eye like so. We'll get in there and snip that with our cheap scissors. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to apply about the same amount of dubbing to our thread that we did to build the body. And we're going to build our wing case, or our thorax. This is about a 3-minute fly when you're really set up for it, which is one of the things I like about flies. For me to tie them, they have to be simple and quick.
And they have to fish well too, of course.
And they have to fish well.
We are definitely on the same page with the guide style flies.
Yeah.
You want to be able to sit down and crank out a dozen while you're drinking your coffee in the morning. 'Cause
exactly.
you got clients showing up in half an hour.
Exactly. So now what we're going to do is pull our wing case back, and we're going to advance our dubbing back over the wing case. Now I'm going to go about halfway back the shank, maybe a little bit more. I always stress that you want to, half of the bug's body should be thorax. So if you can see that, we've easily got that. Now we're going to take a India hen back, and these feathers are real nice for legs. This is optional. You don't have to put legs on this fly. I like to just because it makes it look nice. But your feathers are real nice and rounded like this. And what I do is just peel them back, and I'll cut a little notch out of the top of this feather. And if you're tying commercially or you're really trying to crank them out, you can prepare a bunch of feathers like this. Now I'm going to hold that on my side of the hook, right at the eye, and I'm going to allow my thread tension to sort of bring them around a little bit. Now you want to keep this, the butt of the feather on there, because you can pull this and manipulate that feather exactly the way you want it. Now I've got them right in position. I'm just going to go in and snip this out. And the last step is simply to pull this wing case forward. Tie it off. A couple of good wraps there. We'll whip finish the fly. If you like to put head cement on it, you can go ahead and do that. Snip a couple little strays out of there, and you're in good shape. Good to go. Now, one of the things I like to do is take these legs and sort of smash them against the body, sort of segments them a little bit. You can see that fly. Makes a great profile. It's two-tone in color, which I really like. And as you can see, it's very easy to tie. Anybody can tie that.
Fantastic. Thanks for the fly, Eric.
You bet.
So again, I'd like to thank Eric for his continued participation in the podcast. I want to remind everyone that's local, we're running the official Regal Fly Tying School at Ramsey Outdoor again this year. It's sponsored by Umpqua, Tiemco, and Metz. There are a few spots left, so sign up ASAP. I'm Michael McCullough for RiseFormStudio.tv. Go get some.